It took some time for Argyle to rouse Brenna with his bird whistle, for it was the dead of night. But when she answered the door, she was weary and agitated. "Brenna, I'm really sorry. I promise you something utterly important and disturbing has occurred. I will explain in the morning." "Whatever. Come on." For a few hours, Argyle slept, ever grateful to have a friend such as Brenna. The next day came soon, and Argyle awoke, still feeling tired. But he heard the sound of Brenna practicing her song and music. Despite the lurking sense of dread from the prior night's encounter, it was pleasant to awaken to the sound of a sweet voice and strummed melodies from a lute. Shortly after, Argyle got up, ate a small breakfast with Brenna, during which he relayed to her the details of what had transpired in the abandoned attic of the Wilsham tenement. "The ghost at first seemed to confuse me with someone else, asking me if I had returned. I tried to explain, but it was only after I was unable to draw the dagger from the corpse that she realized I was not the one that she had mistook me to be. I do believe that some supernatural force is holding that dagger in place. There's obviously more to this story than we are aware of." "True, yes. In a fit of duress, the ghost spoke a poem to me, or perhaps it was a riddle." "Well, let's hear it." Let's see, it went, "Love betrayed by lustful desire, what once was pure now is stained. A child unborn stokes desperation's fire. A man with a sickened heart draws a sinful blade." Brenna pondered. "As well she left these." Argyle showed Brenna the 3 pieces of wood, small planks, withered and gray. She looked them over as she tried to decipher the rhyme. Brenna is making an insight check. She gets a 16, which is a success, and she interprets this poem.
"The poem speaks of infidelity, a love affair which is seen as tainting to an intact relationship. There's a pregnancy involved which stokes desperation. That could lead us to guess that the ghost had been the one guilty of the affair, that she had gotten pregnant, and when her husband found out, he murdered her. However, the last line of the poem seems to place the blame upon the murdering man, not the woman."
"So, this man murders his wife to remain with his lover."
"Though even for a murderer, that seems a bit extreme. It is possible that this man was involved with a woman. She conceives of a child, and upon learning this, he kills her to keep his wife from learning the deed."
"I see."
"The body that belonged to the ghost is in the attic of the Wilsham tenement, which would indicate that the murder took place there, as it would be awfully difficult to commit the murder elsewhere and then drag the body up to the attic unnoticed."
"And then there's the issue of the pieces of wood. Surely some clue can come of them." Argyle and Brenna studied the pieces, moving and rotating them. Brenna is making an intelligence check. Argyle is going to attempt to aid her, so he will roll first. He gets a 6, which not only is a failure, but that is imposing a -2 penalty to Brenna's check. She rolls and has a 19 intelligence check, which is definitely a success. After a time, the most discernible and sensible form had been assembled.
"A letter. R.
What could it stand for?" Brenna rolls another insight check here. She reads into the situation, into the clues and the tone of what has been presented. She results in a 21 success.
"Judging by the attitude of the ghost, she's trying to indicate the guilty party. The letter stands for a name.
The two sat and thought for a minute, running through lists of people they knew in their head. They agreed on the strong possibility that it could be a complete stranger, someone unbeknownst to them. But for Argyle, a single name resounded in his mind. Rufus.
We can't be certain.
He's a slimy bastard. I could see him getting mixed up in this sort of affair.
I agree, but we can't just go and ask him.
I know. That's what really gets me. Whenever I've seen him, he's been with a group of mongrels just like himself.
But we can go ask around.
So they decide to ask around the city some. They're going to make a streetwise check, an attempt to uncover clues in this obscure situation, and hopefully not draw too much attention to themselves while doing so. Brenna will be making the main check here, while Argyle will be attempting to aid her. Argyle's streetwise is a 19. That is a successful aid. Brenna is going to make the main check here. She gets a 22. And she did quite well, or they both did quite well, in fact. Throughout the morning and the afternoon, Brenna and Argyle made their way around the slums and the neighboring districts. The first information they came across was given to them by Mort, the owner of Mort's pub. He says,
Rufus. Sure, he's married. Been married for quite a while. Lucky him, too. His wife Ellen opened a clothier shop in the marketplace about 2 years ago. It's seen a good amount of business.
The second person they came into contact with was Garen at the thieves' hideout.
So, you're looking for information about old Rufus, eh? Well, we've got a contact here. I could arrange a meeting with him. It wouldn't be free, of course. 6 gold for the consultation, and he might charge you more if you need information that's hard to come by. Dirty secrets and whatnot.
Argyle knew he didn't have much gold, but he decided it would be worth the chance. He handed the 6 coins to Garen, who asked him to come back after sundown. The two left to go get a meal and talk over what they'd learned so far.
Rufus' wife has a successful business she founded 3 years ago. That might give him some incentive to want to stay with her.
Coupled with saving his ass by not getting exposed for adultery.
You said the corpse was pretty much a skeleton. 3 years is a long time in an attic infested with vermin.
I already feel it in my gut. All we need is for a final confirmation.
The dagger. You couldn't draw it. Some mysterious force held it back. I think I might have an idea. However, we're getting awfully tangled up in this. You do realize my performance is tomorrow night?
I know. I'm not missing it. I wouldn't want you to. I'm serious! So am I. They chatted for a while longer and then made their way back to the thieves' hideout. They were greeted by Garen and a couple others. They were seated at a shoddy table and waited for this information dealer to arrive. When at last he did, something about him seemed familiar to Argyle. He was a stout man with brown hair and a scruffy face that obviously saw infrequent shavings. Garen made the introduction.
Argyle and Brenna, my old chums, mate Charlie.
The man nodded at the two.
I hope I can be of assistance. I'm sure we can work something out.
As the candles lighting the room illuminated better the man's features, Argyle recognized him. I've seen you before.
Huh?
Wait, you're right, Argyle. Sir, you are the guard that stopped us in the marketplace the other day. We're the siblings from Balacroy? Or so we said.
Charlie hesitated. A look of irritation spread across his face. He glared up at Garen.
What? I said that they were my old chums? You can trust 'em. Besides, how was I supposed to know they'd spoken with you before?
I should have known this sort of situation would come up eventually.
Argyle, don't worry. Being a city guard is his job. We all gotta make ends meet. I'm sure it makes for a good contact here. Here for this gang of thieves. You get a lot of good information, don't you? Inside information.
Charlie looked almost insulted.
Hear me out. We are grateful that you didn't give us much trouble in the marketplace, sir. Our quarrels are not with you, nor with this group here. We're just simply trying to make ends meet.
Brenna gave a grin and a wink.
As far as we see it, your position as a watchman can work for us, not against us. As it were, we are in the process of attempting to capture a murderer.
Brenna is going to roll a diplomacy check here, and she is using her bardic words of friendship. And she rolls high. She gets a 33 diplomacy check. And Brenna spoke as only a true bard can speak. Her negotiation so sweet, it could hardly be called blackmail. Convinced, Charlie offered his assistance.
I know where Rufus' home is. I will go there. I'll place him under arrest. But you must meet me at the Wilsham tenement. I'm not dragging a murderer up to a haunted attic all by myself.
No, we wouldn't have it any other way.
I agree.
And so it was settled. Charlie would go and suit up in his guard uniform, and Argyle and Brenna would meet him just outside the old apartment building, ready to show him the chilling remains, all in hopes of discovering an answer to the ghostly mystery.